Story 1. The basement that wasn't in the floor plan. I used to work as a part-time house sitter, mostly during the summer. One year, a middle-aged couple hired me to watch their home for a week while they were away on a business trip. The house was located in a quiet suburb in the northern part of the state. Peaceful, far from neighbors. Old but clean and well kept. On the first day, they gave me a tour. Bedroom, living room, kitchen, backyard. Everything seemed normal. When I asked, "What about the basement?" the husband just smiled. "We just use it for old storage. No need to go down there. Door's locked anyway." I didn't think much of it. They handed me the keys, a list of daily tasks: feed the cat, water the plants, collect the mail, and left early Monday morning. On the third night, I heard a noise around 2 a.m., a soft rattling, like an old wooden door creaking in the wind. The sound was coming from the hallway next to the kitchen, the only area I hadn't fully checked, where the basement door was. I turned on the lights and walked over. The basement door was slightly open. I was certain it had been locked. I looked down the stairs. Total darkness. No lights, no bulb. I called out, "Hello, is someone down there?" No response. But just as I was about to close the door, I heard something. Not footsteps, laughter, software, close, as if it came from just beneath the first step. I slammed the door shut, locked it. Didn't sleep that night. The next morning I checked again. The door was still locked. I took a photo and messaged the husband. "The basement door was open last night. Has anyone ever been down there?" He didn't respond, but minutes later I got a text from an unknown number. Just one line: "Don't mention the basement." I called the police. They inspected the house. No sign of forced entry. But when I asked them to open the basement to check, one officer tried to break the lock. The door didn't budge. He frowned and said, "You said this open?" "There's no hinge here." I looked closer. He was right. No hinge, no doorknob, no visible seam. Just a wooden frame fused to the wall, like it had never been a door at all. I checked the home's blueprint online. No basement, no stairwell, no mention of a lower level. I left after the fourth night. 2 days later, I got an email from the wife. "Thanks for looking after the house. Everything go okay?" I replied, "Seemed fine, just thought I heard something from the basement." After a long pause, she finally responded, "We don't have a basement." I've never gone back to that house, but sometimes around 2 a.m., I hear something. Behind the wall of my bedroom, wood creaking, breathing, and laughter. Soft, just above the floorboards. Story 2. The third person in the room. In 2021, I moved out on my own for the first time, rented a small studio apartment in Phoenix, Arizona. Things were fine. Cheap rent, close to work, and the building had decent security. The landlord was meticulous. He had hallway cameras installed and encouraged tenants to use in-room security too, to prevent theft. He gave me a small Wise cam mounted in the corner, synced to a phone app. I didn't mind. Better safe than sorry. For the first 3 months, nothing happened. I worked night shifts, usually got home around 3 to 4 a.m., showered, and slept until noon. One day I got a motion alert from the camera, 2:17 a.m., but I wasn't home. I opened the app and played the recording. In the footage, the door opens, I walk in, I take off my coat, set my keys on the table, turn on the lights, but I didn't come home at that time. I was certain I had stayed late at work that day. Didn't return until nearly 4. I double-checked my GPS location history. Confirmed. I was still at work at 2:17. There was no way I could have been home. But the footage doesn't lie. I, or someone who looked exactly like me, got home earlier. I started checking old recordings. Between 2 a.m. and 3 a.m., several nights had brief clips. Shadows moving in the apartment. Not clear enough to see the face. But the walk, the posture, it was me. I thought someone was breaking in, changed the locks, installed more sensors. It kept happening. Then one video made me decide to move out. That night I was home, sleeping in bed, but the camera still recorded at 2:19 a.m. In the video, I'm asleep, and from the corner of the frame, a shadow steps forward. From the wall itself, where there's no door, it walks to the edge of the bed, looks down at me, then slowly leans in close to my ear. No sound, no sudden movement, just one line of AI analysis from the system. Motion detected, face detected, 2. I showed the clip to my landlord. He went silent, then quietly said, I think you should leave. Someone else reported something similar here once. I asked, similar how? He didn't answer directly, just said, not everyone who lives in that room is a tenant. I moved out 2 days later, but last night, while scrolling my phone around 2:17 a.m., I got a push notification from the old app I never uninstalled. Motion detected, studio cam, face detected, 1. Attached was an image, me sitting on the bed. Except, in the photo, I'm asleep, and someone is standing behind my shoulder, close enough to see their fingernails, resting on the side of my neck. I've never gone back to that apartment, but sometimes when I pass a mirror late at night, I see someone standing behind me, only in the reflection. Story 3, the door that leads nowhere. This story isn't mine. It happened to my cousin, Ethan, and if I didn't know him as well as I do, I'd say it was just a creepy joke. But Ethan doesn't make things up, especially not after the way he looked at me while telling this. The way his eyes drifted, like he was still there. It started after our grandparents passed away. They left behind a small wooden house in the woods, just outside a rural town in Vermont. Secluded, surrounded by trees, old but intact. Ethan volunteered to stay there for a few weeks to handle paperwork, sort their belongings, and clean the place up. He was alone. The first week was fine, but by the weekend, Ethan discovered something strange. While cleaning the basement, he found a small wooden door hidden behind a bookcase and some storage boxes, rounded at the top, about 4 feet tall. No handle, just a simple iron latch. There was no reason it should have been part of the original layout. Ethan called my dad, who had grown up in that house, and asked about it. Dad replied, "There's no door like that. You must be imagining it." Ethan chuckled it off, assuming they'd forgotten. Still, he didn't touch the door. Until one night, every night actually, at exactly 3:33 a.m., he began to hear scratching from behind it. Light scratching, like fingernails. He assumed mice. But one night he stood next to the door and whispered, "Is someone in there?" No reply, just 3 knocks, then a pause, then another set, slower, longer. Ethan set up a camera to face the door. In the footage, at 3:33 a.m., the iron latch turned, on its own. No hands, no wind, just a slow, deliberate turn. He called a contractor to take a look. When they removed the hinges, behind the wooden panel was just solid concrete, a dead wall. As they packed up, one of the workers turned to Ethan and asked, "Hey, does this room have 2 entrances?" "What do you mean?" "I saw light coming from the other side of that wall, but there's no wiring or fixtures inside." Later that night, Ethan went back down, pressed his ear to the concrete. Silence. But when he leaned in closer, he heard his own voice, muffled, faster, panicked. I don't know how I got in here. Don't open it. Please don't open it. It's still here." Ethan lost it, grabbed a hammer, smashed through layers of concrete, digging deeper, but there was nothing, just cold, unbroken wall. When he turned to leave, the door had closed. The iron latch had twisted back into place, except now it was on the inside. Ethan left the house that night, nailed the basement shut, sealed it, but 2 months later, he showed up at my place in the middle of the night, pale and shaking. He opened his phone and showed me a photo. It was a picture of my bedroom, taken from ground level, like someone had peeked through a crack in the door. In the image, I'm sleeping, and behind me, near the wall, there's a thin fissure, a crack that hadn't been there before. That isn't on any blueprint of my house. He asked me, "Have you ever opened something that wasn't supposed to exist?" I searched the place, found nothing. But now whenever I pass the hallway at night, I see the paint on the wall bulging ever so slightly, as if something is trying to rebuild the door from the inside.